Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. What are you so happy about?
I was just looking, this room was so full yesterday, all day, because of the Brookside Wellness Fair. So it's like so cozy and warm. You got your coats on and your scarves, and we're a smaller circle, but no, nonetheless any sweeter. So I'm glad you're all here. So welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Morristown, in person and online. We love that you're here with us, whether it's today or any time in the future, whether you're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or anywhere else, anytime in the future. We're glad you're with us and that we get to be together today. So it's October. How did that happen? Where did September go? So that means we have a new theme. The theme for the year is Living Everyday Wonder. And the theme for October is finances. I am calling it Appreciating Abundance. And we're going to explore our relationship with money, which seems to be a love-hate thing. So it's an opportunity for us to get really clear in consciousness what that's about. Because what we get to discover is not just our relationship with it, but just what it is that we believe about money. And then we're going to explore that deeper and deeper and deeper in the month of October, really coming to this place of appreciating abundance. So my name is Frankie Timmers, and I'm the spiritual director here, and I'm so glad to be here. I should have set up a little cot. Yesterday we had the wellness fair, and on Friday we set up here, and I left late and got here early, and I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning, wide awake, because I went to bed at 9 or 8, and I was like, ooh, okay. And then today we have the Festival on the Green in Morristown, which has been going on for 60 years, so we have a booth there, so come and visit us. We are on the west side of the Green, which is close to the old Century 21. We're in that little block there. So come and visit. Kathy Ronka's there with Mark setting up right now. Michael just went over there, so we're going to have 1 Minute Miracle there, so people can have just a mini experience, a mini spiritual mind treatment, which will be fun. Most of you know that since July we've been having the Healing Circle the first Friday of the month. Well, in October it's going to be the second Friday. So not this Friday, but on the 14th with our beloved Gail. And if you are new to our community, we are so glad you're here. You get a free book today. So go explore the bookshelf over there and pick a book that makes your heart sing. Because, you know, we can never have enough books, right? Talk about abundance. When it comes to books, we have no issue with that, right? Yes, more books. So let's start with, I want to start today with a treatment and then do the abundance practice, because I am sure we all are aware that the world seems to be on fire. We just have to watch the news and see what happened this week in Cuba and Puerto Rico and in Florida. And many of us have acquaintances, friends, family there. And my heart just goes out to everybody who's suffering. And there's a lot of suffering right now in the world. And sometimes we just, right? But it's just an opportunity for us to keep our hearts open and to have compassion and to send our prayers to know the truth about who and what we are. So I want to start there, and then we'll leave the Namaste practice around it. So close your eyes if you're comfortable. And just take a moment to withdraw your attention from the outer world, from what's been going on before you got here, and just settle in. The beauty of settling in means often the heart just follows and we begin to feel this still, not do, just be. And so right here, right now, we open our hearts and our minds to the experience at hand, remembering that there is a power and a presence within us that governs us, that governs our life, that governs life, whether we call this Mother Nature, God, Buddha, Allah, Spirit, Divine Presence, Infinite Intelligence. It is all those names and then some. And so we name it by the name that evokes that feeling of remembrance of who and what we really are, which is spiritual beings on this particular human journey. And we always remember that we are consciousness first and form next. And so we turn to this awareness that within us is a divine flow that's ever available, ever giving, ever knowing. As we open our hearts and our minds to it, we become the conduit, and as we become the conduit, we live that in our everyday life, and we send our blessings and prayers to anyone that's suffering anywhere on the planet, whether it's in Fort Myers or anywhere else in Florida, Puerto Rico, Cuba, in the world, in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Uzbekistan, in Ukraine, in Russia, wherever there may be suffering and loss, we hold our highest vision for a world that works for everyone, trusting that divine right action happens through us. And so we are grateful. We feel the blessings of life itself upon us, within us, around us, and we are deeply grateful for that. And so much more, and so it is.
And so it is.
And so let's put our hands together. And namaste is just the Sanskrit word for the divinity in me blesses the divinity in you. So as you give a blessing upon somebody, just look at them, bow, namaste, namaste. Just greet each other. And now take a moment to close your eyes, keep your hands together, and just for a moment send blessings to whoever you think may need it. Our fellow humans, the four-leggeds, the two-leggeds, the plants, the trees, the planet, anything and everything and everyone, everywhere. And take a breath. Let go of whatever's in the way, and just feel present and open and receptive. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. So I want you to grab your wallet or your purse and take out, if you have any, some cash. Mine's very organized. I bless every dollar and I organize it. All right, anybody not have any cash with them? Here, pass this on to Eileen. Anybody else have no cash on them?
I printed this morning.
Okay. All right, so let's take a look at that. Let's just think about this for a moment, okay? All right, so what I'm trying to tell you is that when we talk about money, which a lot of times people don't like to talk about money in spiritual circles, which is so interesting to me, like, oh, that's an off-limit topic? Why? It's because we project all kinds of beliefs onto it. And many of us were taught that money is a dirty word. Money reflects sin, you know? And so we get to kind of clear our minds about that today and this month, because the more we clear all those opinions and just stand in the gratitude and appreciation, the more free we will feel and the more we feel we have enough. One of the teachers, when I came into this teaching, into this organization, his name is Dr. Raymond Charles Barker. I love him. I loved his writing. He did this thing, which I've shared in the past, where he was at a convention and there were 1,000 people in the audience, and he took out his wallet and he went like this. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you so much. And he looked at the audience, and half the audience was horrified. And he said, isn't that interesting that you're so horrified that I just did that? If these were my grandchildren, and I was hugging them and going, I love you so much, I love you so much, you'd all would go, ah. And so his point was, what we project onto money is related to our own consciousness and our own beliefs. And they're anywhere from infinite appreciation and the awareness that we are abundant to I never have enough. I experience lack. When I realized early on in this teaching that I had a very poor relationship with money, hence I was poor, I was this far away from homelessness when I came into this teaching. I was just blessed that a friend said, you can stay with me for a little while. And remembering that made me start to explore this idea when I was first in this teaching. And then I began to practice the principles of experiencing abundance, regardless of how much I had in my pockets or my purse, regardless of the home I lived in or didn't live in, regardless of my possessions. I began to understand that it was to appreciate the aspect of my consciousness and my life that was already abundant. And the more I celebrated and appreciated that abundance, the less I had judgment about money and the less I had to worry about it. And so today is really this discovery, this exploration of what it is that you and I believe about money and how we can improve that relationship. When you go home, I want you to write in your journals. And I want it to be a discussion between your mind and your experience of money. So it's kind of like money is a person. Hi, money, how are you doing? Hey, my money, I'm always mad at you because I never have enough. I'm so grateful that I have what I have and that my needs are met. Because that will help you come to an awareness of what it is that you believe. And we know in our teaching that it is done unto us as we believe. So we want to explore our belief system around money so that we can heal that relationship so that it's never an issue again. Because if I carry a belief that I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough time, or I don't have enough love, guess what? It has to show up in my experience, because my experience is reflecting back to me what it is that I believe. And I'm alive so that I can evolve and so that I can heal the ideas of lack and limitation in any way, shape, or form, in any area. But first they have to be made conscious. And what we believe about money is a way to become conscious of why we have what we have or don't have. And so if we can think about it as it's just a means of exchange, it could be paper clips, and you'd have the same feelings, the same experiences, the same beliefs. I happen to love paper clips. Personally, the traditional ones are my least favorite. I love colored paper clips. I like the really big ones. I like round ones especially. They're my favorites. And when I'm in an office supply store, I always have to go and look at the paper clips because maybe there's something fun and something new. So imagine if instead of money, paper money, you were exchanging paper clips as a way for exchange, because that's all we use money for. It's a way to, it's a currency. It's a way to exchange something, right? So if it were paper clips, you'd have the same issue with paper clips, except you can't rip it up. You'd have the same feelings, the same beliefs. Ugh, I don't have enough paper clips. Ugh, I never have enough. I need to go figure out how to get some more paper clips, right? And so if we can really remember that how we experience money and what we believe about it is not about money itself. It's really about how we experience all the good that's available in life. And then it becomes an opportunity for growth and healing. So I love how one of my other early teachers, Dr. Stuart Grayson, used to talk about the 3 L's: lack, loss, and limitation. So it's really helpful to use those 3 L's to uncover some of our beliefs. What is my belief about lack when it comes to money? Let me think about that. Let me explore that. Much of what we believe today is because of our conditioning. I was raised in a family of 9, and my father was a house painter, and my mother ran the paint shop. We sold paint and brushes and wallpaper and things like that. It was a tiny little shop, smaller than this room. But I remember my parents talking about money and struggling. And the saying was, we have to turn over every dime twice, which meant that it was really, they had to be very, very thoughtful about spending money. And so I was living in the energy that there isn't enough. There isn't enough to do this or to do that. There isn't enough to send you to school, to college. There isn't enough, blah, blah, blah. Anybody experience that growing up? There isn't enough. We don't have enough. Where do you think that goes? That settles into our unconscious, and then we look at life through those lenses. So when we pay attention to what is it that I believe about money and finances in the area of lack, experiencing lack, the fact that I don't have enough to pay the bills, which happens, right? So to explore that from a place of consciousness, and then to decide to replace it with truth principles, which means that I live in a universe where there's always more than enough. When we first begin to affirm that, there might be a part of us that says, hell no, that's just not true for me. Well, that's just more grist for the mill to work with in consciousness. And then we begin to look for, well, let me look at some examples of having enough. Just think of that for a moment. What do you have enough of? Books?
Joy.
Have enough? Joy?
Jewelry.
Jewelry?
Abundance.
Clothes? Abundance? What do you have enough of? What else?
Pillows.
Food,
Love.
pillows, love. Yeah, so we can kind of say, well, interesting that I believe I have more than enough over here, but not enough over there. So what is the disconnect about my consciousness, and how can I take some of that and put it in there and work with that at a deeper level, right? When we do have enough, there's this desire to share and to give. And I don't know if you've noticed, but right now there's a lot of ask, right? There's a lot of ask for people in Ukraine, for the people who went through the hurricane. Even right in our own town, we have people that have to go to the soup kitchen to get food. They don't have enough money for food. So we may give at a local level. We may decide to volunteer and serve those who are in need if money is not what we can give. But there's a lot of ask right now, there's a lot of need. So the idea of circulation then is one way to explore our own consciousness and to increase the good. And I'm going to come back to that in a moment. So loss is this temptation to hoard. Well, I need to keep it all together because I might need it for the future. You know, I'm going to need a new car. I'm going to have to go rent a place or move into or buy a house. I'm going to have to save for my retirement. So we have this tendency to hoard in a way, which is again that belief saying, I don't have enough. That's the underlying belief. I don't have enough. I don't have enough faith. I don't have enough money, I don't have enough whatever it is that I need. That belief alone is a setup for us to struggle and to suffer as well. And so limitation just means that there's some kind of restriction around it, right? There's a snag, there's a block, there's an obstacle that we are being invited to peel the layers and look a little bit deeper inside so that we can heal that belief of separation, that belief in disconnect, that belief in not having enough. So it's no meaning that we have to know what it is that we believe and then at the same time practice the opposite. When I was first exposed to this idea of tithing, I was so resistant to it. I fought it tooth and nail because I knew it was a trick to get money out of me that I didn't have. But once I began to understand the idea of currency and flow and giving is receiving, I started to experiment with tithing, and I started with like 3%. Now, as you know, tithing is 10%, right? It's a spiritual practice. It's not about any particular religion. It was existing before religion even came into being, because the pagans were saving 10% of their crop to use as seeds for the next year. It's a way of ensuring your own abundance to come. And so now I hardly think about it. And I'm no longer a tither, because tither means 10%, and I probably give away more than that. And I remember being taught that we want to err on the side of generosity. So it's a way of circulating, and it's counterintuitive, because when we first start doing that, it's like, how can I give away what I need for myself and then experience lack? But it's a principle that cultivates more. Well, that's the whole essence of metaphysics, is to explore that and to realize that it's in the giving that I receive. And so that's been a practice for me that's changed everything, that makes everything just work out, that allows me the experience to know that my needs are always met. And I have so many stories about that, but not today. So think of money, finance, your experience of abundance. Think of it in the same terms as you would a relationship with another human being. So you and I have a relationship with money, right? We have a relationship with our financial life. We get to let go of this idea that it's not a spiritual thing, because it is. It always has been, just like any other relationship. So I want you to think this week what your relationship is like with money. Is it love-hate? Is it happy, joy, abundant? Is it lacking? Is it limiting? Is it cursed? Is it blessed? All those things. And then when you walk around, when you go to the store, or, a lot of times we don't use cash anymore, right? I don't use cash much anymore. But I literally stand and wait with the money in my hand if I pay cash. And I'm blessing this money. I'm blessing that I have it. I'm blessing that I get to spend it on what I'm spending it. I'm blessing on where it goes. There was a time where you could put a stamp on a dollar bill and then you can follow it online where it goes. I used to do that because it was so fun to see where it ended up, right? I don't do that anymore, but it's wonderful to kind of say, thank you so much. Thank you, dollar. Thank you so much for supporting me. When I write checks, I write on the check, it's actually printed on there already, the first letter of the phrase, God, I do give thee thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. I used to write that on every check, but now it's printed on there. And when I'm paying bills, I am blessing the opportunity. I mean, I get the electricity and then afterwards I pay for it. That's amazing. right? Those little things that allow us to cultivate a more loving relationship with that particular currency is so powerful. So Wayne Dyer says abundance is not something we acquire. There's this thought, right? It's about getting. We need to get more money so we can do this. Well, it's not about getting, because that's coming from the mindset of not having or not having enough, right? It's just declaring your abundance in the first place and knowing that it's not something to acquire, he says, but it's something to tune into. If there is infinite abundance, which there is, then as I tune into it, I create an avenue for there to be a flow, give, receive. But if I curse it and I fear it and I worry about it, I close that flow. It can't come to me because it's saying she doesn't want any, she's blocked, right? So we open to that flow, and then we do two things. Actually, I have three things that we can do. So there's three things that we can all do more of, because they are infinite ideas in the mind of the universe, in the mind of God, so there's room for more. The first thing is to appreciate. Appreciate the abundance that you do have. Appreciate it, and as we appreciate it, we begin to notice, the other day I found a $100 bill in a pocket of the pants I hadn't worn for a while. It's like, oh, hi, thank you, right? And so it comes from different flows. And so appreciating where you are, who you are in the moment, what you have, appreciate the exchange that can happen, the good that you do have, the health that you do have, the money that you do have, right? And then the second thing is, about appreciate. I want to say one more thing. When it comes to appreciation, go to what you have enough of first. So focus on what I said earlier, is that, I have enough books, I have enough clothes, I have enough food. I'm so grateful for that, so grateful for that. And notice how easy that is. And then see how you can take a little droplet of that and bring it to the places and the ways that you do not yet feel appreciation. The places where you say, I don't have enough, whether it's money or love or time or energy, right? Because it's all one thing. Appreciate. Second is circulate. I already mentioned circulation, but that's what this is for. This is not in my purse to keep it there until I die and then I can give it to my children that I don't have, or to anybody else. It's to be used. It's to be spent. And when we spend it with appreciation and with thanksgiving, and when we make the exchange more sacred, there is a different experience, a different energy, a different awareness around it, right? So to circulate is because we know that there's a law of circulation that is applied everywhere, not just in some places and other places not. But it's the idea of movement. That's why we give. That's why we support. That's why we tithe. That's why we bless what we get to give and what we get to receive. And then the last one is generate. So appreciate, circulate, generate. Start with generating ideas. Start with generating beliefs that support your highest and best. Start with generating the basic principles that we teach, like the ones we read last week. Start with generating appreciation. Start with generating specific ideas in metaphysics, principles that really make your heart sing. And then bring them to the areas in your life where you might feel limited or stuck. So there's a wonderful story that's an Aesop, did I say it right? The Greek fable, the Greek fableist, the Greek story. Aesop. So this is an Aesop story for children, and since we're all children inside, you'll appreciate it. So I'm going to grow up with the fables, but I've been reading them and I love them, and I love them. So this one's called the Goose and the Golden Egg. You know it? See? I never goose that you can imagine. For every day when he visited the nest, the goose had laid a beautiful, glittering, golden egg. Every day. The countryman took the eggs to the market, and soon he began to get rich. But it wasn't long before he grew impatient with the goose, because she gave him only one egg, one single golden egg a day. He was not getting rich fast enough. Then one day, after he finished counting his money, the idea came to him that he could get all the golden eggs at once by killing the goose and cutting it open. But when the deed was done, not a single golden egg did he find, and his precious goose was dead. So when we don't appreciate what we already have, it's like cutting open the goose, because we are coming from a place of lack, not enough, and we might be greedy in a way that we don't quite understand. And so we can deepen our understanding by listening to our heart and really saying, what is it that wants to be freed, wants to be lived by means of me, so that I truly can experience my inherent abundance in all ways. Now let's listen to some music that some of you might be familiar with, and listen to it as a way that you're being prayed for or treated for, as we say affirmative prayer. Just listen to it as a sacred blessing on your growing abundance. place your hands on your heart just for a moment. And ask yourself, are there ways for me to be more generous? Generous of mind, of heart, of spirit, in the realm of the physical exchanges that are happening. And so if you are feeling blessed by being here and by being supported by this teaching, this community, we invite you to support it any way you can, whether it's giving today in a basket or going online or volunteering. It's from a place of joy and freedom, not obligation. It's about coming from our hearts. And so let's know and declare our personal abundance right now as a closing treatment. So right here, right now, I speak this word in the I am, from and to the I am of each of us, knowing there's only the one. There's only the activity of infinite love and law. There's only the life force flowing through all of life. And today I get to be more open to this flow. I get to trust it more deeply. I get to know and understand that there are universal laws that support me by means of how I use my own mind and my own heart and my hands, my mouth, my eyes, my ears, my feet. And so today I choose to be more aware. I choose to be more conscious. And I choose to notice where I am aligned and where I'm not. And where I am aligned with these truth principles, with the truth of love and law, I celebrate and give thanks. I appreciate and understand the gifts and the blessings of life. And where I feel a disconnect, I simply love and forgive myself. I experience compassion, first of all, and then I begin to experiment and practice with these spiritual ideas that I have learned or am learning. And I do this with patience and with kindness, because I know that I am on a healing journey just like everybody else. And so I allow the blessings that are already upon me to grow and expand and to carry me to a way of being more free, more blessed. And that is my contribution to the world right now. To know the truth, to see it, to feel it, to know it, to be it, and to share it. And so for that, I am so grateful for this community. I am so grateful for this teaching. I am so grateful for what I've learned and what I'm learning. I am so grateful. And so it is.
So it is.